I've never had to focus that much in my entire life. I'm not much of a focuser.
Welcome to 10 Minute Travels. With me as always is Shane Patrick.
With me as always is Phil Freeman. Today we're going to be talking to Patrick Verity about riding motorcycles in Peru and a few other things.
Let's get right to it, shall we? Patrick's a really good friend of ours that lives in Girdwood. Cavorted with him in and out through the years, in our sleepy little ski town in Alaska. He was born and mostly raised, if you could say he has been raised, in Canada, and he made his way over to the grand old US of A, to the state of Alaska, and he's been here ever since, and he's kind of a mainstay with all of us. And when we were talking about doing a friend's trip in Peru by motorcycles, Patrick's name came up, and saw each other at Toke once. We've seen each other in Dawson City on motorcycles, always doing our own things. But finally, it dawned on me, let's invite Patrick on one of these trips and see what it's like. And a friend's trip is a friend's trip. It's basically going to be a little bit rougher. It's going to be a little bit less organized than anything, though we did have a little organization on this one. We were going to spend 12 days together in Peru. We were going to just ride unsupported. We did have hotels set up ahead of time, and we had a general idea of where we were going to go. But other than that, adventure did what it did. And I am happy to have Patrick with us today because, it was his first time to ride on an exotic ride, an adventurous ride somewhere else other than Alaska. And I thought it would be fun to have his perspective on what it was like to travel with some friends through Peru on a motorcycle. COVID put MotoQuest back a little bit, so we wanted to do a hurry up offense for just trying to offer our guests something to do as the world was opening up. And so I went on a whirlwind in 4 months. I went to Portugal and spent 2 months there, actually just a month, doing back-to-back, the tip to the tail of Portugal, lovely trip, spas, and great country roads. Then time out, croquet, meeting up with Shane as he's translocated over to Maine, and a little sojourn there, and then straight to Peru, where I spent 2 months straight doing 3 trips, 2 commercial, and then ending with the friends trip where Shane and Patrick were able to join me. And it was tough and fun and beautiful. We had some tragedy on the road, and I was kind of suffering from a little bit of traveler's disease, if you will. So it wasn't easy. But I can tell you, after doing the 2 commercial trips, which were wonderful and hard and amazing, that seeing my good friends get off the plane and be at the bikes and ready to go on a trip just with them was just a breath of fresh air. And it was so fun. And it's hard to condense all of that feeling of what a motorcycle ride is like, I think for me, because I do it day in and day out. And so and Shane and I have done many of these trips together all around, and we've seen each other here and there and here and there, and the little details kind of slip through the cracks. So for me, I wanted to ask Patrick just straight up, what was it like, go on a trip like that? And especially the first few moments, first day, what was racing through your mind as you were riding through Peru of all the countries?
Well, I remember the first thing I asked you when I got there. I was so excited. Everything was exotic. The smells were exotic. I said, Phil, what's that smell? It smells amazing. You said, they're burning garbage. So I might have been a little over, but the first 40 minutes of the ride was the Pan America Highway. And you told us, this is going to suck, blah, blah, blah. But it was incredible.
Why?
I've never had to focus that much in my entire life. I'm not much of a focuser. But, oh, my God. Well, passing on the right, on the left, going full speed to full stop because the highway, the biggest highway in the country, has speed bumps on it where motorcycles can go a little bit faster. It was amazing. And that was even before we got off the shitty road.
I remember telling you guys, okay, we're going to have to just put up with this for an hour or two, and then we're going to get onto the good road. And we went for about an hour, and it's always good to stop about once an hour, whether you need to or not. Someone's got to take a leak. Someone's got to eat something. Someone's got to say something. So I stopped off the side of the road. It was pretty hot. There was a little bit of shade. There was 18 wheelers going by. And I stopped thinking I'm going to get, these comments like, oh man, that was hard, or oh, that was a little mundane, because it was straight. There was no ways about it. Patrick turns off his engine, gets off the bike, and says, "That was awesome." And I thought, oh Jesus, just like the little cartoon I have on my Facebook, that Far Side where the guy's with the wheelbarrow down in hell and he's whistling to himself, and we're just not getting to this guy. He's just enjoying that, and we haven't even started with where we were going. So it was like that throughout. And then what? And then what happened that day? Like, we went through Duck Canyon, which was, oh my God, how do you describe that?
Well, that was the thing. Every day in the morning, there was so much adventures, so much to see. And then the afternoon was the same thing. And I would forget the morning because that seemed like a couple days earlier.
But you can only process so much, right? Your brain just gets full of stimuli.
Especially this little brain. Exactly. And to be able to pass on the right or the left. I mean, it felt amazing. I can't, if I do that here, I'm all over the internet. Everybody cries about it.
When I introduce people to, Peru or India or something like that, where it's basically you lay on the horn a lot and anything pretty much goes. I like to gingerly start, leading the group out of town, especially if it's a commercial trip, because geez, it's, you've got precious cargo behind you, but friends are a different thing. When we pulled out onto the main road to get out of Trujillo, I thought I should baby it, but I'm not. And then started cracking it open and going around traffic as you can. And you guys stayed with me. And I think that's, it was great to see you guys go through that exhilaration. But literally, yeah, like you say, no rules at all. When I try to describe Peru to people, I go, there's one thing that will not happen on a motorcycle. You will not get a speeding ticket.
Yeah, the pre-ride scouting report that you give people, this works this way in this country, and this is a little different. The pre-game scouting report that you give people about this is the way the things work here. Some countries turn signals mean pass, don't pass, I'm turning, or whatever. And there's all these things that people do in rides in America, like weave in your lane, just enjoying your lane. And in Peru, there's going to be a motorcycle on one side of you in your lane and a semi on the other side of you in your lane. I mean, it could be busy.
Well, I never kind of talked to you guys about that, but I would like to know your guys' first impression of that Duck Canyon. This is right out of Trujillo as we're headed to Huaraz. You guys didn't know what you were getting into, and I knew what you were going to see, but I wondered what went through your mind when you saw that road.
Well, with me, ideally, what would have gone through my mind when we went through one of those 48 tunnels, I would have remembered that I have a high beam so that I could see in the tunnels. But I was too excited. I forgot about the high beam. I think I had my sunglasses off, but I don't even know. I did more curves that first couple hours than I've done my entire life.
Yeah, it's just so hard to, like Patrick, like you said earlier, it's so hard to remember everything because it's just bam, 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 something always happening. Not like, remember that one time? There's 5 million one times every morning and every afternoon.
So we took 12 days and we went from Trujillo in the north of Peru, and we wound our way pretty much through the Arequipa in the south. And we went through many valleys, over many passes, and into many towns, mostly indigenous. What were your favorite parts of this trip, you guys?
Well, first off, we didn't see any gringos for the first 10 days. Am I right, Shane?
That's about right.
That was amazing. Because of COVID, like the little sweet spot between when a place opens up and the crowds aren't there, or if that's just how it is in those areas. Even Machu Picchu didn't have anybody there. The tourists there were Peruvian. Like, what a special treat to be able to be there with a bunch of Peruvians.
I think it was because of COVID. There were many hotels that I noticed were shut down that are usually open. And as you get into the South, you do run into more foreign travelers, and it was zero.
Yeah, one of the numbers that was quantifiable was Machu Picchu. Our guide said that pre-COVID, 12,000 people a day were let in. Post-COVID, they capped it at 3,200. And the day that we went, there were less than 2,000. So probably about like Machu Picchu was in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, you will never see that again.
And we also were we were off the beaten track. We were actually off the track that's off the beaten track for a good bit of the trip. Like other motorcycle adventures that like people that you take, Phil, would see what we see, maybe a little more crowded. But most travelers won't see any of the stuff that we saw. You don't ride a bus on that. A bus is painful. All of those places we thought was awesome.
Also scary.
Also scary. No control. At least on a motorcycle, you think you're in control. It's like playing blackjack versus slot machines, right? But as we got closer to Machu Picchu, Patrick, you actually pointed it out. All of a sudden, that 50 miles around that, you started seeing like either my Spanish improved or I can read English signs, right? And then we saw like kombucha. There was no one selling kombucha in Duck Canyon.
No, not in Duck Canyon. I don't even know why there's a road there.
Yeah. Whose idea was it to build all these roads? Every day. It's like, what? They built a road here? Alaska we need to get our shit together. There'd be a road to the top of Denali.
That was Patrick Verity talking about riding motorcycles in Peru and a few other things. If you want to learn more about Patrick or anything else we do at 10 Minute Travels, please visit 10minutetravels.com.
And we want to remind you to make sure that your sense of humor matches your sense of adventure.
And please like, subscribe, and share this podcast on all the platforms.